Hey, what's up? This is Chad Warren. It is Sunday, March 9th, 10:49 a.m. here in Hot Springs, Arkansas, USA. Hope you're okay. Uh, this is going to be about mail art. I got into it. Oh, I was interested in zines back in the day. I was on the fringe of the punk scene, and but in recent years it interests me as a way. I just think this whole internet thing's just kind of dead. So wherever we go from here is what we create. I think that's kind of a major theme. You're just going to get sucked into the Trump daily news propaganda, or you're going to be part of the solution. Those are kind of the two options. And so I just started getting into stamps. And this is cool. Look, it does like the rabbit hat thing, and also postcards. And you can resell these for money if you want. They're just cool. It's cheap. It's fun to do. I knew that like photography was a way to get into collecting something that's cool and has value. It's not the dumbest thing to do. Certainly, a lot dumber thing to do would be to play lottery or something like that, or get too wrapped up in Pokemon or Dungeons and Dragons. Hell, I don't know. But anyway, I watched this documentary, which you're gonna see here. Pan Modern, in this Mark Bloch, Bloch, I believe is how you say it. Oh yeah, this is Rebel Renaissance Radio. Haven't really been fooling with my site much. I need this. I'll put this on there, and there's a blog there. But I've been wanting to get together something like this myself. I enjoyed receiving some stickers from Robbie Marks through the mail, and I would like to do that myself. Not just stickers, but I got all kinds of coasters. This is like a deadhead button. I know there's a sticker of it in here. Here's one. Right. So that's. Then I've got this comic book, Illuminati comic book coming from Anna Calendar, I think, as well, from Paranoid American. And so it would be cool to get this going again, because it is really hitting at the nerve of where we need to go, which is that you need to be you need to be being authentic, right? And part of that is that you really want to build your empire, your audience. If you look at it in the YouTube thing, about you need 1,000 people that are willing to pay like $5 a month to subscribe to whatever it is that you offer them. If you look at it that way, this is like older and cooler than that. This is like making connections with people one at a time. So you got to pass that bar of entry that you're somewhat of a creator, and that you're going to take action to go towards what you want. So this is like co-creators. There's this whole history, pretty left-wing type of stuff, but these artist people and these political people, because of the postal system, and how back then in the 70s, this is not new in the 70s at all, but it got popular at that time, kind of around this Soho art district, where this speech is given in this video. But there are people in the Eastern Europe that were having to speak in be censored and be secretive about it, and then that goes to secret societies, and then that goes to this conspiracy occult culture of today, and how we very could likely be in a situation like this over some Israel political type of situation, what have you. So I think that it's it's a cool thing. I don't like snobbiness and elitism, but I think there needs to be this recognition of like you see it mentioned in this art installation, this speech that Mark gives, that there's this like get real movement, get back to reality. This one woman in the audience is talking about people not being on the internet, and that's really a big. It's the last genuine political movement I think that there is. It's paradoxically it's gonna have these Gnostic Mother Nature, back to nature vibe, and then it's gonna have this not wanting to be in the beast system, Christian apocalyptic element. And I think that's going to really divide our species, is that some of us will be this remnant, similar to is talked about in the Bible, but just on the level of being authentically human. So that's interesting, the crux of the argument of what is humanity. Anyway, so yeah, what you see pictured here as well, I'll just read off the caption there. It's at the rayjohnsоnestate.com mail-art-ephemera, and it is captioned Ray Johnson Untitled Rimbo Template for Arts Magazine, November 1971, mail art photocopy. And I thought I would read this. artic.edu articles / it's articles, then / 1100 / signed - sealed - delivered - correspondence - art. Correspondence art, also known as mail or postal art, is a dialogue, a connection, a testament to the enduring power of creativity. Anyone with access to a mailbox, paper, and some stamps can participate in correspondence art, and each artist is free to decide how and when to or not to answer incoming mail. It is universal, accessible, and presented without traditional skill-based parameters. Like one woman, that same woman that mentioned about the off-grid living, the get real thing, is the idea that if you have a private invitation, there's all kinds of value there that we've lost in the modern age, postmodern, pan-modern. Male artists deeply value the process of exchanging ideas in the sense of belonging to a community. The term male, and that's the intentional community thing that I think is going to grow. The term mail art was coined in the early 1960s by artist Edward Plunkett as a way to retroactively create a label for a movement already in motion. It began in the 1940s with American artist Ray Johnson, 27 through 95, widely considered the grandfather of mail art for his early experiments with correspondence. 93, Untitled Double Silhouette, Ray Johnson. Plunkett began referring to the growing movement as the New York Correspondence School, in reference to the budding abstract expressionist movement of the time. Ray Johnson's New York Correspondence School, or Correspondence School as Johnson sometimes liked to spell it, dance versus dense, was composed of a vast network of artists, including, among hundreds of others, Andy Warhol, Robert Rauschenberg, Claes Oldenburg, is that Klaus? Robert Indiana, Mae Wilson, and Ruth Asawa. Today, the Art Institute has some of the very first documents of the New York Correspondence School in our own William S. Wilson collection of Ray Johnson, which was acquired in 2018 and displayed for the first time in the 21-22 exhibition Ray Johnson, care of Here's some examples. Lenore Tawney to Catherine Koo, '07 to '07, was an American artist known for her work in assemblage and fiber art. Born in Lorain, Ohio, she attended the School of the Art Institute of Chicago and lived and worked in Chicago for 15 years before settling in New York City in the late 1950s with the aim of forming a career in the epicenter of the modern art world. So this is fiber art by Leonore Tawney. It's nice. Waters Above the Firmament, 1976, and Red Circle, 64. She began creating postcard collages in the 1960s while she was moving between studios and traveling internationally. Though she left Chicago, the artist maintained a long-standing friendship with Catherine Koo, who was the first woman curator of European art and sculpture at the Art Institute of Chicago. The two exchanged mail art over the course of their long friendship. 18 pieces from Lenore to Catherine in the Ryerson and Burnham Libraries collection. Huh. So I assume that's like clip art? Stuff glued on there. It's neat. Look at these feathers. Bird Day. Oh, this is weird. Oh, shoot. I forgot you can't see these. Oh, I gotta bring all that on here. Sorry about that. I'll do that right now. It's alright. It's alright. Yeah, I don't know how to set that up. I have to look at the browser. I'm not seeing what I do when I switch over to the OBS. So we'll add that. That would be a window capture. Yeah. There we go. All right. So I'll go back over to that. So really, you didn't miss too much here. This is the first one, Ray Johnson, 93. This one is Lenore, 76, Waters Above the Firmament, Red Circle, 64. And then here we have the clip art and the feathers. And then what is this here? It's a drawing. It looks very photorealistic of the collar on the black and white. Priest's collar. It's like Freemasonic with the checkerboard. That's interesting. And then this flower, like, is that a stamp, I guess, of these drawings of flowers? And then look at this pigeon on the cracked egg. Some music and speaking. It's pretty. Okay. Well, anyway, so there's more to learn there. Here, Art Institute of Chicago. And then, okay, this is, I want to read from some of this. This is panmodern.com. A chapter reprinted from Amazing Letters, The Life and Art of David Zach, edited by Istvan Kantor for the New Gallery Press. This was by Mark Bloch in December of 2008. About 5 years ago, while attending a very swanky art world party on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, I was introduced to a well-connected Mexican gallery owner. Now, here was a great opportunity to advance my own art career. During a lull in our conversation, in an attempt to keep things moving, I casually mentioned that I knew a Mexican artist that I doubted he would be familiar with. "Who is that?" he asked, charmed, completely engaged, and genuinely interested. When I replied with the name of the notorious male art legend and my late colleague David Zack, this man's countenance darkened and his expression turned to one of complete revulsion. He did not even attempt to conceal a horrified reaction, not just on his face, but exploding from the totality of his body language. I cannot recall what happened next, only that I never had a decent conversation with that man again. This picture is Block on the left and Zach in Block's Lower East Side apartment around 86. "Your loss is my gain," said Dr. Al Blaster Ackerman, then of San Antonio, Texas. One time, as it was confirmed that Zach was on his way from his house to visit me in New York by Greyhound bus. I say confirmed in quotes because Zach could change his mind countless times, and any number of other caveats could enter into the equation to interrupt any Zackian departure. I wasn't sure what Blaster meant, but it was clear by the time Zach got on an Amtrak train to Rhinebeck, New York a month later, I knew all too well that Judith Conway's loss was my gain, as I gleefully waved goodbye to Dave from the platform at Penn Station. I was exhausted and frankly couldn't wait to see him pull out of Manhattan. Once I did, I returned wistfully to the wreckage that was my apartment in the beloved record aftermath of his visit, but it would be days before I would discover hidden treasures like the fact that most of my beloved record albums and their cardboard covers were stuck together as one giant sticky lump as the result of Zach apparently dropping a glass of orange juice on them one day. I did not know that mishap had happened, and probably neither did he, although I wouldn't put it past him to curiously forget, quote unquote, to tell me. But Zach was not a malicious character, merely painfully unaware of his calamitous effect on the world. David Zach was as blind and as destructive as the American cartoon character Mr. Magoo, leaving chaos in his wake wherever he went, a diabetic like his parents since his teenage years, with his limited vision getting worse as the years passed, and with that as just the start of his problems. In the early 1980s, postal artists got to meeting each other in a sub-movement called tourism, where the idea was to meet other networkers face to face. This is so exciting here, just this pre-internet world. This culminated around the time of that Zach visit in 86, the year of the International Decentralized Mail Art Congress, where meetings of two or more mail artists was considered a congress, and larger groups tackled the issues of the day in roundtable discussions. From my Stanton Street apartment, Zach and I took temporary road trips together to the aforementioned Conaway's home upstate to sojourn with the mail artists Crackerjack Kid, Ben Zana Banville, and Steve Random in Greenfield, Massachusetts, and other places long forgotten, but I must have it written down somewhere. We also must have met with other local New Yorkers of that time: David Cole, Carlo Pittore, John Evans, Buster Cleveland, and Ed Higgins, but I recall none of it. Only the constant turmoil of trying to pry Zach from my typewriter or refrigerator while being lured, as if by extraterrestrial forces, to be an accomplice to his appetite for both. Together we created an issue of my Pan Mag, for which he wrote, among other things, a poem about my neighborhood, Heroina es muy corriente, that translates roughly to "heroin is very trendy and dangerous." I might have written one called "Tourism is very trendy and dangerous, and it may cost you your record collection." CN-4-6- Finger Chicken Tails. Avonworth Jackson, illustrator. So I'll leave that for you to read more of there, but that's it's just interesting thinking of these people being this avant-garde art scene, I guess, kind of for reals, especially looking back, but it all seeming like a gag at the time, and just what is or isn't happening with it's been a long time that the internet has come and gone, so that just leaves us open to interpret what should be. Just the way I see it is it's just so the it's like a it's like a dark ages of Rome. Everything's broken. Most people are paying attention to this alt media that's all contrived. So yeah, what that's the basic premise. What do you do when the underground space that has been around for so long, that was used to be the domain of the left, now it's the domain of the right? What do you do when that's all corrupted? How do you create a genuine movement, which is I think that is genuine, that every time has energy, and how you harness it, and that's art, and that's politics and whatnot. So what would that be? What would we explore from here? I appreciate you checking this out. Man, I guess we can look at a little bit of this discussion just to get a feel for that.
And you didn't touch on those, and I just wanted to tell you why I love them very briefly. Well, this one is, it says WTF, afraid of art movements, and I'm just showing a printing press and sort of, um, oh, it's too hard to explain what it is, but it's a printing press to sort of show where I come from in this activity. I like William Blake, so maybe there's like Ray Johnson was a guy who's in there, and he did nail art in the 50s, and the Italian Futurists did nail art in about 1905. For me, I go back, all the way back, but I love like William Blake. So to me, this picture of a printing press just speaks to that idea, and it's a specific thing about a person that I was arguing with, and it's a bit of a manifesto. But anyway, that's what this image is. And then this one is 26 umbrellas, and it's dedicated to this woman named um, Judith Hofberg, who had a magazine called Umbrella. She's no longer with us, so it's kind of an homage to her. But it's like 26 different letters of the alphabet and different activities that male artists, or what I call post-flux artists, might do. Like under C, there's Cinderellas, which is what they call fake postage stamps, Cinderellas. But also collage, communications art, computer art, conceptual art, concrete poetry, correspondence art, cut up.
So I think you get a feel there. We have memes and our favorite channels today of podcasts and whatever. But I think it would be really cool if we had like a video magazine and these zines, and then the cassette thing is popular. We could have spoken word and podcast and music and all of this stuff, and the exclusivity and the collectability of all this. I think we should really, you know, get this movement going. To people that are not familiar with it should access this and do their version of it for now. I think would be really smart, because the basic future, all I can see for the internet, is about curation. There's too much info. That's why people are doing the AI, asking the questions and getting the answers. It's good for giving you a line of thought and directions, outlines and stuff like that, if you were going to do your own research as well. So people are gonna start wanting that for everything. Why should I struggle to look for YouTubes to look for, or help me find these cult classic movies, and then it can help you even think more where you're really trying to go. Um, so the need to define a world that we live in common, I think, is what is interesting. And then the basics of this older style is like, if they would have these events with these themes, and everybody would say the theme was world peace, you'd get 100 different answers of what that would be. So I think that's an interesting the transpersonalism. Okay, thank you very much. I hope you enjoy the show. Check me out. I'll have a link in the description. Chad Warren Linktree, and then Rebel Renaissance Radio. I'll have this up at the blog there. Thank you.